Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of the program. I am John Senaya and together with you we're about to take a jolly ride.
I'm all set for another experience on the show. This is Today with John and Helen Live and I am Oma Helen Odeleye and you're welcome. How are you doing? On the show today we shall bring closer home the subject of taxes, the whys, the obligations as well as benefits, courtesy Moses Abayomi Durosaro, a seasoned tax expert and consultant.
I knew you were going to do that. Durosaro. Repeat after me. Durosaro. Good. And also on the lineup is a robust conversation on car sharing in Nigeria as an alternative to ride hailing. Great. Yes, co-founder and CEO GTI Rides will be available to answer all our questions.
Nigerian names. Oh my goodness.
Interesting.
We have to look for special sessions for that. All right, so because health is also a priority while you are in search of success and prosperity, the pretty and energetic Keep Fit coach, Dolly Phillips, returns to take us to the gym today for some easy to do and very, very efficient exercise routines. Of course, there will be some messages, nuggets for leaders and public speakers, as well as some really soothing music videos, just for your relaxation and enjoyment. But before we kick off proper, let's take a quick break to allow you to take the time that you need to get really comfortable, get a bottle of water, get a cup of coffee, whatever it is. Get a bowl of fruits, whatsoever you need to get comfortable and be with us from start to finish. Go get it, and we'll be back after the break. See you again.
Thanks for staying with us, and you're tuned to PlusTvAfrica, and this is your family talk show, Today with John and Helen Live. What significant impact has the slight change in fuel price had on you, your business and social life? And this question will take us into the banter segment, and I mean, Helen, that question is directed at you.
Yes. I don't know. I don't know if I have experienced any, because when the prices went up, I would just go to the gas station and whatever budget I had.
I just said that to fill
Yes. No. Whatever budget I had, I wasn't looking at the, how many liters and all of that. So my mindset is still there. So the fact that the price has reduced a bit, I am not. It's very,
I
very
think I'm asking the wrong person that question because for most of us, we would have calculated it from home. That 1 liter is equal to.
Okay.
This, so I can
previously it was 1,000.
9.5 liters.
Headache. You just give yourself a headache. You get to a point that when things begin to happen and you really do not have control over it.
Yes.
There's something you should do to your own mind and your brain and just get on top of it. And that's pretty much what I did a few months ago, because I saw that it was getting the better of me and I needed to take that decision. So even right now, and from then I reduced my movement. If I was out 5 days a week, I would go out now 2 days a week and make it absolutely necessary to drive out. So I really haven't felt whether there's price reduction in fuel or not. But the roads are still not as filled as they used to be.
Yes, now a lot of people are doing the same thing that you're doing.
Okay.
Reduce the number of times that they have to go out, unless it is absolutely necessary. You don't
just stay back. Okay. And something else that I need us to look at. Last week or so we had somebody come talk to us about how to use the gas in our cars. I mean, the fire extinguisher. Some weeks back, we also had someone come to talk to us about the CNG, and we're experiencing a couple of gas explosions.
Okay.
You know, something happened in Port Harcourt and the entire family members, you know. And so people there's more awareness now on how to check the expiry date, you know, of your gas cylinder and all of that. And I think people should take that very seriously because this is the Harmattan season, if I can use that word, and fire outbreaks are more. And also the CNG thing. Yes. You know, there was also an incident of a reverend father who had converted his car to CNG, and there was a crisis. And people are saying that is not a technology for here because our roads are bad. Yeah, the bumpy, while the roads are bumpy. So there's so many conversations around that. And I think we need more awareness.
I'll tell you right off that those people are wrong. A lot of the incidents that we're having is as a result of people fabricating those things locally and not doing it properly. I mean, I've gone to climbs where CNG is used and it's very safe.
Where?
India.
Oh, that's what.
It's very safe. Yeah, it's very safe. Yeah, if properly installed.
Okay.
You know, so don't cut corners. Go to the right centers because it's the future.
Yes.
It is the future for us, and we really have to embrace it quickly.
Embracing quickly, and so also we need a lot of information and enlightenment in that regard. And like that gets said, more centers where people can go and get the services.
Maybe
and finally from me, something a bit worrisome. I read within the week that a couple of state governors are asking some troublemakers, the armed robbers, the unknown gunmen, and the kidnappers and all of them, to please come surrender, you know, disarm themselves, and then the state will take it upon themselves to rehabilitate them and all. And that's happening in the north, that's happening in some part of the east, and the southwest is crying. That is a surge of these people moving from this part of the country here. And so I really do not know what the federal government is doing or the state government is doing, whether it is proper to just tell criminals, just the moment you come and surrender, we'll let you go and we'll take care of you.
Well, I think the best thing for now is for us to just keep our eyes peeled on that and see what happens.
Okay.
I have a tax man in the house.
Okay. All right.
I'm so eager to talk to him.
Okay, so we'll get to that in a bit. The fact is hardship and difficulties have been positively converted by many of us, you know, to gainful engagement and more hard work for Nigerians. And more and more people are looking inwards and thinking outside of the box, if I can use that word.
Yeah, that's really true, Helen. And moving on to our first area of interest on the show today, which is tax. Because if I say taxes, you mean, right?
Yeah,
it's tax.
That's your Englishman.
And not a lot of us understand the many angles to this subject. Our first guest is here to help us navigate the topic, why pay tax? Your obligations and benefits. Moses Abayomi Durosaro is a seasoned leader in regulatory tax and business advisory services. And with over 15 years experience, our guest combines strategic vision with hands-on expertise to deliver exceptional results for clients across various sectors. Currently the CEO and managing partner at MOSAUG Consulting, our guest is a trusted advisor to both emerging and established businesses. And time to meet and welcome Moses Abayomi Durosaro. Thanks for joining us today. I am elated to have you in here.
Thank you for having me this morning.
It's like having a policeman in the studio.
I'm telling you.
I told you don't need to be afraid. I'm a friend, I'm covered, so
the police is your friend too.
Okay, you see now you're like, okay.
You walked into it.
So like insurance, you know, I'm sure that selling tax, talking about tax and getting people over to understand and follow suit is a difficult job that you have been doing. We trust that you will help us gain better understanding today as we talk about tax. You're welcome. Thank you for coming. So the topic, like John said, why pay tax? Your obligations and benefits. And let's get right to it. John, shoot.
Yes, I just simply want to start off with, okay, now, in your experience, why do you think Nigerians generally have a poor tax payment culture? And what are the root causes? Nigerians are always trying to find ways around paying tax.
I think taxes seems to be a big challenge, not only in Nigeria, so Africa, and even in other climes beyond Africa. So we have, when we talk about Nigeria having a poor tax system, people are not paying tax. But I still feel that Nigerians are not even paying tax enough. So I know that maybe
you think Nigerians are not paying enough tax?
Yes. Or there's no coverage, or there's no wide coverage around the tax system. So we can argue back and forth the effect of how effective the tax system is, how effective the digital use of the resources that the government has. Those are different arguments entirely. But when you look at statistics, you realize that Nigeria is still far. In Africa alone, Nigeria is in relation to the tax to GDP ratio. Nigeria is about 37, and the gap between Nigeria and the 36 is about 8 points, according to IMF. So, for instance, in 2011, during the Jonathan regime, the tax to GDP ratio was about 9.7.
What's that in English?
No, in English means in terms of population, in terms of our growth.
Okay.
So, that means in other African countries, they have a wide range of tax collections. They have quite a number of people within the tax brackets. Now, compared to Nigeria, compared to population, our economic growth, the fundamentals around what are the key things around our fundamentals, you realize that we are saying far cry.
So the net, you're looking at the net now.
At the wide coverage.
Okay.
So let's go back to your question where you said why are not paying tax. First, we look at, do people actually trust the government?
Okay.
People don't trust the government. Government said something, and then they are seeing the pay lifestyle of the government.
Okay.
So you need to see how effective is my taxes, what I paid on the regular basis, what I pay on a monthly basis, what I pay on a yearly basis, how effective for me, how is it affecting my
what am I getting?
What am I getting back?
Yeah.
That's the first issue. People don't have trust in government. And then we see how other people that corruption in system, like systemic corruption, beyond they said we are part of the government itself.
Yes.
We are the people.
We are the government.
Come from us. So, but there's systemic corruption. So people, the perception of that people in government are corrupt. So you have that challenge already. So that form a gap between the perception and the expectation of the people. So those are the fundamentals, right? So you also have the inefficiency with the tax administration itself. So government does not even have the capacity to bring a lot of people into tax nets. So you have those big challenges, both from the citizenry and from the government perspective. And people don't even know, and that's what it was there. And I know if I start asking you questions now, you are like, if I start asking you some questions, like I have, you can, and if that can be in an organization where you are regulated, you are supposed to pay PAYE. Now, and having in Nigeria sometimes also earn extra income. So the question is that extra income is also you are supposed to report it in terms of taxes. So sometimes it's also lack of awareness. People are also ignorant of what the law says. So and those are the big issues. So beyond like, okay, when I work in a regulated environment or in the formal sector, right, I'm supposed to pay. It's an obligation. The government does, the organization did not directly without making it cost to me anyway. But when I have an extra income, when I have an extra income on a Saturday, maybe I'm also I have a catering services that I render to people for Owambe parties. The question is, do you report the taxes for that period? Do you report your activities for that weekend? So you work on the formal sector Monday to Friday, but on the weekends, do you report what they're listening?
Most people don't even know that they should. So
those are the issues.
That's the issue. Most people do not know that they should pay taxes. Even in an organized establishment, when you get employed, there is no proper briefing you know, for say, okay, this is your salary per month, and this is also how much will go out of it based on what percentage, you know, for your task.
Yeah.
The pension scheme came and all of that noise happened, but then you know that the government takes a certain percentage of your money to keep for you in view of when you exit.
Yeah.
But with the taxes, you know, we generally just keep saying is the taxpayers' money, you know, that government is using.
Yeah.
And nobody explains to you really why they are using your money to do what they're doing. So Nigerians don't feel that they should pay taxes because they do not see the benefits of paying taxes due to inadequate welfare services and so many other things. In developed countries, like you say, people can see these things.
Yeah.
I'm throwing in this money, but I see the deliverables. But here,
You're sounding like a tax man.
not
So
really.
I quite understand that perspective. You know, they just seem to have also multiplicity of taxes. Government, state government is collecting something, local government is collecting something, and then you know, fine. On one side, Nigerians also are not taking interest in terms of to get that engagement, to know what are my obligations. Now I know the government parties, like, you have to create that awareness, you have to increase the awareness, you have to increase the engagement, you have to engage the community leaders. So those are questions. But even if I get to understand the knowledge, I did my borrow, I provide my power for myself, I mean those supplements. So those are key.
I provide security.
So that's why I said the perception. So and the expectation. Government need to widen the gap.
The reality too.
That's why. So so those are the questions. Those are the things that actually make the tax system in Nigeria to be like where we are currently.
So how do we bridge that gap? I mean, there's a gap. There's a trust gap created now. You know, you're even talking about formal tax payment. What about all these levies?
The bank ones?
Levies and things that we run into along the roads.
Yeah, so that's why I said the one of the challenge, you know, we're talking about one of the challenges is the multiplicity of the tax system, you know,
and the structure.
Because when someone on the road, you enter the box, someone at the road collects something from the driver, automatically you pass it to the final consumer. So those are the things that, and I think I like the fact that the presidential tax reforms led by Mr. Abayomi is looking at some of those issues, right, to see how we can get those things either reduced or removed completely. And that seemed to be, at least to the average Nigerians, to the lowest income earners, you have that impact going to actually reflect in what you earn, what you take home, and that's the key. In time of what I had to really resolve, I think first we want to talk about transparency. You know, transparency in government, accountability. You know, you don't say this and then
we see something
else. You don't talk about people need to get ready for a difficult fiscal reforms around that's going around the economy, and then you are seeing government officials still having 10 cars, 20 cars in their motor. So people see this, you know, people see this, they have the perception, all right. So as leaders, the government needs to also shoot from level of transparency. And that's also very key. We also talk about engaging people. You know, that's limited awareness. Even people that are in formal sectors don't even understand their obligations. So they need to also increase their awareness, the community engagement. You know, people need to get. You know, we have the wide range of people from the informal sectors. That's where the issues are. But the formal sector is also having challenge, right? And I feel the formal sector is also overtaxed. You know, people that are already captured in the central database of the regulators are also continually being taxed.
Yeah.
You know, their taxes is linked to their BVN. Yeah. So those ones they don't take money out of the system. Their funding goes around within the circle of the formal sector, within the banking sector. But the informal sector, they don't even take money to the bank. So how do you want to know the average income of those people who sell clothes on the Lagos Island? So people need to have that form of engagement. The only government that have done certain level, we talk about Lagos State government, who also likely looking at automation of your returns and some summation of returns. So you don't even need a third party, you don't even need a consultant or any individual to help you with that. You can also actually work there, submit and file your annual returns.
Well, we hope that it doesn't affect your job.
No, it won't.
You
As
really
a
need a task.
I don't think it will. I don't think, because that's just a small
that's
section.
also
Yeah, very micro.
Just kidding. Yeah.
All right.
So now I want us to zero in on something. You talked about new tax reforms, headed by Oyedele.
Shegun Funny, he used to be my lecturer.
Okay, that's interesting. Could you just break down or give us an idea of what these new tax reforms will cover? I know it will be a wide thing, but just could you point out a few things to us?
Yeah, so we used to have the Finance Act 2020. That was during the Buhari regime. That actually have a form of introduction. Like we know everywhere in the world, businesses are. I mean, the economy is driven by the small business owners, and that has always been a challenge. When subsidy was removed, it affected most the small business owner. It takes a lot of income off them. They have to pay more for electricity. They have to pay more for if there's no alternative. They have to pay more for power. So they also have to sort of have responsibility and obligation around some of the basic things that affect them. Initially, being under the Finance Act, the threshold for businesses that are susceptible to tax was 25 million. It means that if you have 25 million as your revenue. Your CIT company income tax and your value added tax is zero, charged at zero. But with the new reform that is actually introduced in the National Assembly, you're having a threshold about 50 million. Okay. I know that's also still a little bit more, but at least it's going to bring a wide range of small business into the range that, okay, I can come forward, I can file my returns, I can do my business without fear, and then that means I'm being charged company income tax, which is at 30% of what you earn as profit. It's charged at 0%, right? And then you also have the value added tax. It is very contentious issue around the world. What to do, around beyond the government. Everybody's having that argument back and forth, and how effective this is going to be. Now, for a small business owner, you are going to be zero VATed. It means that you are not going to pay for VAT if you are within that 50 million bracket.
Yes.
So I think that's for me, it's a buffer for small business owner. So I think that's a very good starting point.
Okay.
And then you also have some specific industries and sectors. You mentioned about CNG, for instance. You are not going to be, there's a minimum level of tax for people who are into CNG, because you want to look at alternative to power. You want to look at renewable energy beyond CNG. You want to renew energy. So those sectors are going to be zero VATed.
What about hotel taxes and stuff?
Yeah, so I see, so they fall into that range, because if you see category as a small business now, you enjoy those benefits. And I'm looking at one of the proposals is also that, because it's also key, it's a consumption tax. But when you're into hotel in a restaurant, you don't have a choice. You have to be VATed.
Wow.
You're also looking at that withholding tax can also be removed for small business owner around those things. And it's also very critical. This part is also very important. One of the things that maybe in Canada and in US for IRS or CRS in Canada does is the tax reform process is seamless. I have quite a number of small businesses that have a lot of funds with government who are here to get reimbursed. Now, what the current reform saying is that within 30 days, your VAT refund will be processed. Now, I know that's letter of the law. The implementation is different. But if they are serious and we are looking at that, then means that small business, hotel and restaurant that you mentioned, they only have excess withholding tax credit. Quite a number of businesses also have excess withholding tax credit. If I can get that within 30 to 90 days, I can put it back into my business. I can use it to run my business without looking for additional capital. Now, if that is introduced into the law, it's going to serve a buffer for businesses. And then we have also for individual relief, tax relief for individuals, because they also form the benchmark of, they form that chunk of the society. You have some people are unemployed, some people are underemployed. Now let's look at those people that are let's say they're underemployed, but they are earning a minimum, a bracket of #1 million. It means you're
#1 million per annum.
Per annum. Okay. That's about 83,000 per month, if I'm not mistaken. So it means that you're not likely to be paid payee, so which is also very very key.
You're not likely to be paid payee.
No, you're not likely to pay payee. It means that that's what's qualified under. If you're an employee of an organization, you are assessed to tax under the personal income tax law. So it means that you have to pay. It's not even making it to you. The organization is supposed to take it from you, from the source, and remit back to the government. Okay. So if you are within that bracket, you get a reduction. You don't get taxed. If you are within the bracket of like 1.7 million, it's right on per annum, your pay is also supposed to be reduced. So I think those, and we have the large chunk of income. Surprisingly, within that bracket, I can give you that way. For us that are in the industry that have access to payroll and pay slips every day, we have a large chunk of people within that tax bracket. So if those people are having reliefs, enjoying that within the context of the new reforms, I believe that we're going to start seeing that maybe people are having the belief that they can actually have a direct benefit beyond the issue of saying subsidies removed, and I'm not seeing the direct benefit.
Well, John. You see, the thing about policies in Nigeria, because as you're reading out the so-called benefits, I am like, okay, so this is a new policy. Is it going to happen in phases so that we can measure effectiveness and implementation? Or is it just another bogus, promise? And before we know it, government and the tax people are taking. But the benefit to Nigerians, it's something that we may just continue to wait indefinitely for. What's in place now? And when it does start, how can I, for example, if I have an issue about how much has been taken, and it shouldn't be, if I'm that enlightened, where do I go? How do I begin to agitate or make my case? So that you're talking about refund now, so that would happen.
So that's why I said the bottom line is about you understand what the law says. Everybody, an average Canadian, like stay there for a while, and average Canadians understand what the law says. They know they have to file their returns between 1st January and 30th of April.
You see?
So they look for someone to do that for them. So they don't even need to run an advert for them to get that. People understand that it's an obligation. I have to do that within a specific period of time.
So if you don't see it, within that period of time,
because so many things are tied to it. Because maybe, for instance, you want to access a loan or you want to access a mortgage. They might ask you, what the last time did you file your annual returns? So those are questions. So whether you gone to school, whether you're semi-formal or you're in the informal sector, you knew that there will be a point when you will be asked questions around what you filed or around your annual returns. That's on the government. So when those questions are being asked, and we also need to have this understanding. In the last 10 years or 15 years, I would say, we start having this conversation around tax, how effective it is, what are my direct benefits since Jonathan regime, when we don't have that oil windfall again. We have this mentality that we are rich. And unfortunately, we are not. So the only way we can get us kind of out of this mess is to have an efficient system. So that's why I said that government also need to be transparent. As you want the people to also come forward and remit returns and the government also needs to be transparent. There's no money again. And what we are generating from crude oil is not enough for the enormous issues that we are around, or what we need in terms of growth, economic growth. And that's why we are talking about loan. We can be talking about reliance on crude oil 20, 30, 40 years ago, when our population growth is still very static. But now we are going.
So the holiday is over.
Oh, the holiday is over. We don't have a choice, and we have to give it to the president. It's taking the bull by your own. Some of us might not like it, but these are the things that should also have been done by a leader for God knows when.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I mean, we'll take a break after this question, right? And I mean, I want to bring it home to you now. Taxcrowdy. Yeah, that's you have a platform, which is known as Taxcrowdy, and it's aimed to transform, the way we handle compliance with tax. How can technology, help improve the collection and compliance in Nigeria?
Yeah.
Because Nigeria is a peculiar situation, and of course this is our Nigeria.
Yeah.
So how can we apply such technology? If you could just answer that quickly, we'll take a break. And
so I think basically is how to see. Okay, government needs to leverage more the use of digital platforms to be able to reach out to the unreached.
Yes.
Or to their own access.
What about my grandmother in the village?
No, that's where the issue is, because we have especially of Lagos State, we have to be using Lagos and a few other states that are able to leverage on technology. If you go to some states, they're far off. So we need to be able to see that. And that's one of those things that we also introduced, what's it called, our own platform, where you see that no matter what you do, no matter whether you're a low-income earner, you can get an access to a tax consultant or an accountant that can help you with your tax returns. So ignorance in that case will not be an excuse. So you can get you wherever you are within the country, without context. You can get you matched with a regulator or a tax consultant or an accountant that can help you with your returns. And I think FRS has what we call tax promas, which tax promas. So it helps you to see how accessible you are in terms of your level of tax compliance, and all that whether you have withholding tax credit note, all those revolve. And when you're also filing, now you have to file on tax promas then before you make a manual submissions. And I think they need to do more, right? Go more deeper, because that's, if we talk about compliance, they said that they added about 140 people to the tax system in the last 2 years, mainly last year. And you look at the compliance, that's 20%. So you won't count yourself as being a success when you have 20% compliance in terms of people voluntarily. Voluntarily paying. So that's the one. Two, we also need to look at data integration. We're very poor in data in this country. We are very poor. We need to look at how do we integrate those data. Now we have BVN, we have NIN, for instance, where people you cannot, we are going to that level. So we need to start looking at how government need to make. If I have my NIN or I log into a site, I can actually see all my form of taxes where I have lacuna, either with the use of BVN or NIN. And we're doing that already. And I think it should be to get that to the point where everybody, and I see even the local people, you will see the use of mobile solutions. Even people in the village are using that when you have to use POS to make transfers. So it means that you can also make tax also.
It's possible.
To exploit those opportunity to also reach those people in the village, just as you mentioned.
It's a bit technical, but we will get there. And what that suggests is that we need a lot more education and enlightenment, in this area. And just as I was getting into the conversation and beginning to understand it a little bit, I can't believe it. The idea of paying taxes, my director just informs us that we need to take a break, like John said earlier. So we'll take that break very quickly and come back. You are still here, so we can pick up from where we're stopping right now. And please join us again.
So, you're still watching Today with John and Helen live. And our first guest, an expert in tax matters, Abayomi Durosaro, is still with us to continue from where we stopped before the break. And it's been interesting, I must say. So, Helen, you want to fire the next one?
So the next question is, what challenges do tax authorities face in enforcing compliance, especially with informal sector players who dominate Nigeria's economy? Like you said earlier on, they are the bigger chunk. So are there challenges in capturing them, finding who they are and how to get your money?
So Thank you. I observed that that's like I've said, I mentioned that earlier on, that data is also a very big issue, especially when it comes to tax and tax system in Nigeria. So you also have to consider that, do they have enough data? And that's also a key area that is also very, very. They don't have that information. Thank God for a bit of BVN and NIM. There's
a federal government organization that helps with registration of companies.
Yes, so
yes,
so it's
NCC.
It's a government, federal government regulator, but automatically you have your team, so they are able to synchronize it with FRS now. When your CSC documents coming out, you have your team automatic generated for you, so you don't need to make it cost. So I think so they could do that, but that's still not enough. So data is also very key.
So it's like still work in progress.
Yes, so data is also very key.
Yeah, being able to.
And I also have the issue of I don't think they have enough resources to manage bringing all the informal sectors and formal sector into the tax net. And Nigerians have one of the most challenge where you have different multiple agencies collecting tax. Customs is doing theirs, another one is doing theirs, and so.
For me, it's all because they are not having to go after the taxpayer, right?
Yes.
If for instance, we have what's in it for me
mindset
for the taxpayer,
you
really call forward
so very soon.
Are there incentives, for instance, that Nigerians, particularly small businesses, can leverage on to ease the burden of compliance? Are there any carrots?
Yeah, so I think that's one of those things. Hopefully this bill will go through. It's not be same with PIB bill that took almost 20 years for us to get it passed. Hopefully this will also be, because there are a lot of incentives if implemented for small business owner, from you being charged at zero VAT if you have a certain threshold revenue, right? And also if you have value-added tax, to also giving a buffer. So we have a limited sector in the previous law, but now we have increasing the range, to cover quite a number of businesses, renewable energy, generation and distribution of electricity. If you are into power, so those areas were not included in previous. So if you have in those specific areas, you start looking at, and it's run down to the business, because if you're generating and distributing power at a reduced cost, it also wants to mean that people that are consuming, the consumers also get their rates also reduced.
Okay.
So that's a form of where we can look at the direct benefit to the consumers.
The question that just pops up in my mind is tax invaders. What's the provision in the law for punishment? Is there a punishment if I avoid, if I evade?
You can always you can manage. Tax evasion is that's what becomes criminal. But when you can manage your tax liability, you can look at what are the loopholes. No matter how efficient the law is, you can only look at what I can now do better in terms of my record keeping and all that. But
if I don't pay at all,
then become criminal.
It's a criminal offense.
It's a criminal offense. It's a serious offense anywhere in the world. So there's different penalties for different level of non-compliance. So now there's room increase. You used to have 200 naira for sometimes for non-compliance, but that was then. So they are changing a lot of those things.
At least one is not going to prison.
Oh, you are liable to prison some of the laws if you are not complying.
Okay.
And I like the way you said it easily. You didn't make it sound like going to prison. So really, we should be wrapping up in a minute. But I just want you to give us a sense of that. Generally, what we have on ground, in terms of the current efforts in educating the citizens, about what to do, how to go about their taxes. What do you think we should do more?
So that you're looking at from
briefly,
so I think it's just you need to engage people. You need to go on social media, go on the traditional media to see how we can reach the unreached. Get that information out. What you are doing is not enough.
Yes.
So people need to have quite a number of awareness around that. And also you need to engage leaders, you need to engage the community others. You need to give maybe, for instance, the auto mechanic leaders, you need to engage different sectors, continuous awareness. You can't just expect people to come over to you and say they want to voluntarily make their obligations. You need to actually engage them.
Okay, and so as we get ready to leave, let's hit the nail on what would benefit a lot of Nigerians. Like, what is in it for me if I am compliant and I'm paying taxes, you know, and I'm excited about it? What's in it? What are the benefits?
I think for like in education, I see when the government removes subsidy, they are not saying that okay, or if you meet certain conditions, you're as a student, you know, as a parent, you can your children could access loan for higher institution. Now I think so it become a carrot and stick approach where you have that okay, I'm removing this, I'm giving you this, and that's a direct benefits. Yeah. Like when we have the subsidy, so that's a good thing. Education. Now making primary school and secondary school compulsory for everybody and make it accessible. You know, when they want to look at the health sector, especially the primary health care, it's very key. So if government is saying that and they put in that, I think, and then you are seeing the benefit, then it also make it more fundamental, more important for you.
Okay, welfare services, all of that.
Yeah.
Okay, so why pay tax? Your obligation, and the benefits that are, you know, built in there with the Chief Executive Officer and Principal Partner, MOSAUG Consulting, and I'm talking about Moses Abayomi Durosaro. Okay, I got that, Durosaro. I got that, digital. So we're grateful to you. Well, you have tried your best, still some gray areas, you know, because it's very technical, and then we hope that viewers have benefited from the conversation with you this morning. Thank you for coming. Thank you.
A lot of gray areas yet. That means we're going to have to bring you back because I'm sure that a lot of questions will come from this phase one of the talk with you. Well, you've been able to clear up many misconceptions about tax. And we want to thank you for your time. And up next, we'll have Keep Fit segment to help us shake off the and so let's bring on Dolly Phillips just for a few minutes. Enjoy the drill.